Hello everyone. In patch 4.0, something happened that's great for science. The behavior of Malorne was changed. Now we can target Battlecries and spells at cards in our deck. But what changed? Prior to patch 4.0, Malorne's Deathrattle was coded the following way. Visually move Malorne to the deck, then create a second copy of Malorne shuffled into the deck, then move the original Malorne to set aside, removing him from play permanently. This means that if Malorne died before your Battlecry or spell resolved, it would not target the card added to the deck. Recycle used to work this way, and still does. However, in patch 4.0, Malorne's Deathrattle is recoded to work the way Entomb does. The original Malorne goes to your deck and stays there. Not only did this fix an old bug where Baron Rivendare plus Malorne would put 2 copies of Malorne in your deck, it lets us mess around in ways never before seen. If you cast Reincarnate on Malorne in the deck, the copy of Malorne in the deck will be milled, and a new Malorne will be summoned on the battlefield. If you cast Polymorph on Malorne in the deck, Malorne will be transformed into a sheep in your deck, and will even be revealed when drawn. If you cast Sap on Malorne in the deck, Malorne will be moved into the hand and the client animates this like card draw. If you cast Mind Control on Malorne in the deck, Malorne will be moved from their deck to your deck. Entomb is coded in the following way. Steal the minion, like Mind Control, then shuffle it into its new controller's deck. So Entomb on Malorne in the deck works the same way as Mind Control on Malorne in the deck. You might have noticed that when we transformed or moved Malorne between decks, he was always the top card on the deck. This is not a coincidence, it seems to be a side effect of performing this trick. This is the first time ever in Hearthstone that the position of cards inside of one's deck can be controlled. Maybe this will lead to some more science down the road, like finding out if adding or removing cards from your deck shuffles it as a side effect. Now let's talk about how attached enchantments work in wrong zones. Normally cards that enchant a minion in play expect the minion to still be in play when they resolve. This means that the attached enchantment is coded to consider itself to be in play, even if the target minion is not in play. This is why when we cast Shadow Madness on a minion that is in the hand, Shadow Madness still triggers to end in the end of turn phase, and changes the controller of the attached minion. In addition, if you attach an enchantment to a minion in your deck, and it leaves your deck, all enchantments are detached. We tested both with drawing the minion and with force playing the minion using Deathlord. But hold on, did you notice something? The moment Malorne with Seal of Champions cast on it is force played, we can see the attack value briefly bouncing, as though it updated from a different value. Inspecting the log, we see that Malorne briefly had an attack of 81 when force played. This must be because Seal of Champions was in play, and therefore every time stats were updated, Seal of Champions dutifully gave Malorne more attack, but Malone wasn't in play to correctly reset his attack at the start of each recalculation. This is reminiscent of what happens when you die as Lord Jaraxxus during your turn. After we die, our attack value rises continually because our hero is not in play to correctly reset our attack. Since enchantments on minions in wrong zones are in play, they can perform their side effects as well. We now demonstrate that Velen's Chosen on Malone in your deck grants spell damage +1 until drawn. We conclude with Shadow Madness in the deck. The enchantment is considered in play, and therefore will move Malone between decks at the end of turn phase. Thanks for watching.